Our next speaker was the champion in Congress responsible for this institution becoming a national laboratory. Senator Lindsey Graham is certainly a familiar face to all of you. Senator Graham was elected to the United States Senate in 2002 and reelected in 2008. He was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1994. Prior to his service in the House, Senator Graham compiled a distinguished record in the United States Air Force and has logged 6.5 years of active service duty. Senator Graham currently serves on several Senate committees, including the influential Appropriations and Armed Services Committee. He's very actively engaged in the issues that affect the Department of Energy complex and on the work that we do around the world. We're very pleased that he was able to join us today. Please join me in welcoming the senior senator from South Carolina, Senator Lindsey Graham.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all. The academic portion of this is over now. The football players wouldn't let me take their science class. I drove down the grades. How many people do we have here that are working at the laboratory? Raise your hand. Wow. Any retired people? All right. Well, here's the deal. You can leave anytime you like, and thank you for coming, but these people get paid to listen to me, right? I've got a 4-hour speech. Break the budget. Really, what I love about America is a guy that made a D in science can actually address you. Only in America would that happen. That explains a lot about what's going on in Washington. And the bad news for you, I'm one of the smarter ones up there. Speaking of members of Congress, somebody's really smart. How many of you met Joe Wilson? How many of you have a keychain from Joe Wilson? If you want one, your ship has come in. Now, I've known Joe for, well over 20 years. He was an Army JAG. I was an Air Force JAG in the National Guard. He's got 4 wonderful boys, all of them serve in the military. Joe's one of the leading voices for our national security in the House. And there is no better friend to Savannah Riverside National Lab, the entire complex, than Congressman Joe Wilson. He's a fighter. Thank you for being here, Joe. He loves taking care of this place. Anybody heard of Tim Scott? Yeah. Well, he actually did play football at Presbyterian. Tim is our new senator, and I have never met a man with a bigger heart, willing to learn, and understands what makes South Carolina tick. Tim has an unlimited future in politics. I'm glad he's a Republican. I'm very proud of the fact that he is now leading our state and becoming a national voice. We work together very well. Joe, thank you for coming. Tim understands how important Savannah River National Lab and the site is to the economy of South Carolina and, quite frankly, Georgia. And he understands the dangerous world in which we live. So I could not have a better partner in the United States Senate, and you could not have a better advocate than Senator Tim Scott. Thank you for coming. And that's not enough. We got the mayor of Williston. How can we fail? Tom, thank you for coming. The one thing I can say that's, Dave, that's led to the success of this site is that the names change, the companies change, the leaders change, but the commitment stays the same. We've got a really good leadership team here at the site, on the DOE side and in the private sector. These are challenging times. When you're $17 trillion in debt, everything's on the table. Does that make sense? Including our backyard. So I don't mind having to prove to my colleagues in the Congress that this is a good investment for the American people. You've got a hell of a story to tell, and we're going to tell it. And when money comes to this site, there's no charity involved. Look at the amount of money you've saved at the National Lab for the Department of Energy. You pay for yourself and then some. 900 people work at this laboratory. From a South Carolina perspective, that is a very large employer. $250 million a year to support the lab, and the jobs here are good paying jobs. Means a lot to this community. But we're not here just to fight for jobs. We're here to fight for a country that needs to move forward. The FBI chose the Savannah River National Laboratory as its forensic lab to deal with the nuclear problems that our country faces, the threat we face. The FBI could have picked any lab in the country. They chose you to set up shop, to help defend this nation. That should say a lot about your work product and the faith and trust that other people have in the government. Hydrogen. I want to be the Detroit of hydrogen when it comes to new cars, but without the crime. So fuel cell research here is going to be good for the environment. It's going to be good for the economy. And the hope is that the national lab, partnering with the site, can leverage the private sector. The hope is that the work you're doing here, that one day there will be hydrogen vehicles on the road in large numbers. And the manufacturer of a hydrogen car would be smart to come to South Carolina to build on your expertise. One thing does lead to the other. So my view of the last 10 years is that it's been a tremendous success story, but when it comes to the Savannah River National Laboratory, the best is yet to come. I'm going to up my game, and I'm going to ask the leadership, Terry, and the workers to up theirs. Our country needs to be smarter than our competition. We need to make sure that every taxpayer dollar is jealously guarded, and innovation in science is the key to better government and a better quality of life. As we try to balance the budget, we have to remember in Washington there are certain obligations that the federal government has that our state and local government cannot perform. Defending this nation. To those who have worked at Savannah River over the last 50-plus years, God bless you because you won the Cold War. This is a site that was created in a time of great conflict where the former Soviet Union and the United States was in a nuclear arms race. You provided the tritium for our nuclear deterrent force. As we level off and as we begin to reduce our weapons inventory, we have to realize that the world is still a dangerous place, and our nuclear inventory needs to be relevant and viable, and we will continue to serve the nation in that regard. But thank you for letting me be part of this community. You don't have to be a rocket science to represent Savannah River, but it helps. And I can tell you I've learned so much. As to the MOX program, we love our friends at DOE. We're going to get that fixed, I promise you. The MOX program is something that the nation needs, and it's a budget-driven problem, and our delegation's going to fix that problem. We're 60% complete. Now's not the time to abandon a program that will eventually work, and now's not the time to break an agreement with the Russians to take 34 metric tons of weapons-grade plutonium off the market here and in Russia, enough to make over 10,000 warheads. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor representing you in Washington, getting to know what you do, being a part of this community. On behalf of all of us in South Carolina, you are a treasure. This National Laboratory, one of 12, is a national treasure and a state asset not only for South Carolina, but for Georgia. To our friends in Georgia, thank you for being great partners. Johnny Isaacson and Saxby Chambliss are always there when we need them. So I want to close with this thought. America is going through some tough times. The threats to this nation are growing. There are people out there who wish to do us harm. And to defend this nation, we got to be smart, we got to be efficient, and we got to be committed. We cannot let our guard down. So the work you're doing at this laboratory for Homeland Security and the FBI makes America a safer place. The work you're doing in the environmental management arena makes America a cleaner and nicer place. The innovation that will come out of this facility over the next decade will make South Carolina a more competitive place to do business. It must be satisfying, I would think, to work in a part of the community, to be employed in an area where your work product has such impact on your fellow citizens. The only promise I know I can keep is that I will try to understand what you do and be an advocate for your causes in the halls of Congress. I will not let you down. Our delegation is firmly behind you. We have Republicans and Democrats, but we all see this facility, this laboratory, as a treasure for the state of South Carolina. God bless you. God bless the work that you're engaged in today, and may God continue to bless this country and the state of South Carolina. Thank you.